morning. And thank you to everybody for coming here. This is our first big political candidate forum on the island. We have candidates statewide.
Would everybody take a seat, please? Everybody take a seat. We're starting the program.
Thank you, Fred.
We made an effort to come here to meet you. We told them all that we can't, that we don't like to go over the bridge, so they had to come and meet you here. So, and they did. So thank you very much for those who came to listen to them and for the candidates who came. These elections, as you know, are going to be very important. We always think that it's getting better and that it's not going to be as important anymore, and well, that's not really what happens. Louder? You cannot hear me over there?
Just pretend like you're talking to Obama.
So, primaries are important. That's when you make your choice, and that's why you need to get to know your candidate so that you can vote the best man or woman for each position. That's very important. In the general election, you don't really, if you're a Republican, have much of a choice. You just vote for who is on the ballot. So this is your time, so make the best possible decision. I also want to thank, and we'll wait maybe until he gets there because he is at another event, but I will thank a few people that have helped to make this event happen. First, I want to thank Fred Adler. He is the one who said we needed to do a forum on the island. So we did. I want to thank Kelly McFadden, who is streaming our forum so that those who cannot join us will be able to see it, and if you want to review something that happened here, you can do that too. I want to thank Steve. Steve is our wonderful photographer. You will see on our Facebook page all his pictures that he posts after. Please go to our GOP on the island and you will enjoy them. So some housekeeping. We have a lot of candidates. We have 27 or 28 candidates with us tonight. So I think that's a record, even for Corpus Christi, so certainly on the island. We have 17 races that are represented, so we are not going to have a lot of leeway. It's going to be pretty fast and short for each, but you'll see that you get to really see who they are and what they stand for, even in that little bit of a time. So the format is going to be the following. We will follow the ballot order. On each of the seats, I put you a copy of the ballot. Two things about it. First, I use it for two topics. First, I put my recommendation on it as the precinct chair here. I put the recommendation for your vote. After that, you'll decide. You'll see many of the candidates, so you'll make your own decision. But those were my recommendations. Second, I highlighted in orange the races that are represented tonight so that you can follow easily and you can mark, if you want, on your ballot who you like. So that's on each of your chairs. So the format will be the following. We have 6 races where we have challengers. For those, we will, each candidate will have a 2-minute opening statement. Then we will have one question, short question, 30 seconds or 1 minute max, but make it meaningful, and they have only 1 minute to answer. So don't try to go into something very complicated, but try to get to something that really allows you to judge the candidates. So, and then they have a closing statement for 2 minutes. So that's the format that we will adopt for the races where we have challengers present. For the others, it's a 2-minute statement, and that's it. So we will get started. We'll go on the ballot order. I have two requests, though, to do things a little bit differently. Kara Sands, are you here? No, I guess she's still working. So when she comes here, she would like to talk to you a little bit about election logistics. So we'll let her do that. I have another candidate, and that's a 2-minute statement that came, though he broke his finger yesterday. Jack Pulker, if you want to come, and you will get you started before everybody else so that you can go and take care of your finger.
Now you know how to get to go first. Hi, everybody. That's Jack Pulcher. I'm a Los Midway graduate, Texas A&M College Station, and South Texas College of Law. I am the judge at 105th District Court. My jurisdiction runs from the Portland shoreline to about 10 miles north of Raymondville. I have 3 different courtrooms that I cover. I pick 6 grand juries a year, about 12 to 15 jury trials. I'm also the presiding judge of the Nueces County Veterans Court. If there's any veterans in here, a little bit later on, if you have some ideas that you can inform me, maybe we can make this the best veterans court in the state of Texas. I do have an opponent, but it's a Democrat, so I'm not going to take too much of your time up here. I know there's some candidates that really need your help and support. The numbers are kind of low, so I ask that you do vote, like I did, and you call all your friends and tell them to get out there and vote so that we can have a Republican sweep in November. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. So now we go to back to the order, and we'll start with the race for U.S. Senate. We have 2 candidates or candidates representative. If you want to, please come here at the table. And we have Mary Miller, and we have Sierra Medina, who is representing Senator Cruz. The order is, which person? Mary. Yeah, Mary is first on the ballot. So Sierra, yeah, if you want to come and see here, both of you. So Mary, if you want to start, opening statement. Mary, opening statement, 2 minutes. Excuse me, we have time. Who do I look for time? Yes, for time, 2 minutes.
With the time now.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi y'all, my name is Mary Miller, and I am running for U.S. Senate against Ted Cruz. I'm a CPA. I have a master's degree in accountancy, as well as a master's degree in taxation. I've been in business for 30 years. I reached the level of controller at the age of 30, and then went on to become a CPA, and I've been a CPA for 15 years. I have extensive experiences working in a group environment. If anybody knows any CPAs, or do I have any CPAs here? Any accountants? Okay, one. Okay. Anyway, you have to do everything in groups, and we have teams for everything. So I'm very familiar with the group environment and leading different groups and getting things achieved with my clients. And I know how to get results. I have extensive leadership experience with my civic experience as well. My husband served for 27 years in the military in the U.S. Navy. And when you're in the Navy as a military wife, you have to participate in family groups, spouse groups, things from the ship. It's quite extensive. Anyway, I'm here because I want to bring back integrity, honesty, and dependability to the office of the Senate. I love my party, but frankly, I don't know where it's gone. We have a $2 trillion deficit we're looking at, and he wants to add another trillion next year. And Ted Cruz signed that. He signed that tax bill that was a redistribution of income for middle class. Our tax cuts stop after the 3rd year, but the wealthies go for 10 years. So Ted tried to do an amendment, but he didn't get it through. So we're still stuck with 3 years, and then ours start to go up in the 4th year. And the wealthies extend for 10 years, and also their inheritance was significantly affected. They raised the inheritance tax to $10 million. But at any rate, we have a spender in the White House, and I think we need to control him. But thank you very much, and that's my opening statement.
For those of y'all who have not met me, I'm Sierra Medina. I am the Regional Field Director for South Texas for Ted Cruz for Senate. I'm not going to dwell too much into policies because I think a lot of us know where Ted stands. But I will let y'all know that we do have a lot of campaign events coming up. I'm hosting a weekly phone bank every Tuesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Nueces County Republican Party headquarters. Refreshments are provided. I have campaign gear, so if y'all would like to come out and get involved, I'd love to have y'all out. We are also collecting grassroots endorsements, so that ranges anywhere from volunteers, activists, precinct chairs, county chairs, anyone that is heavily involved and would like to endorse a senator. We ask for your endorsement. You can come contact me, and I'd love to have y'all involved. Thank y'all for having me here. This is a really great crowd, so that's awesome. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Sarah. And I know some of the representatives of candidates have said they would rather not speak instead of their candidate, but Mary, you are here. If there's a question for Mary? One question.
Do you know what TPP stands for and what it is?
Yes, Trans-Pacific Partnership, I believe.
And it is a trade agreement that we decided we didn't want to participate in anymore. And I think that was a huge mistake.
Thank you very much. So this ends our first race. Now we have the big one with a lot of participants. So this is Congressional District 27. I would like to ask the candidates to come. I will. Excuse me?
Didn't you have a 2-minute wrap-up? That's okay.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Absolutely. I know we are so tight in time.
I'm sorry, I've been up since 4 and I went to Brownsville early. I'm a little bit tired. My website is maryusa.org. I hope you'll give me a chance and look at my website and see what I stand for. I'm for fiscal responsibility, I'm for balancing the budget, and for being what Republicans used to be. So take a look. I hope you'll consider voting for me.
Thank you very much. So I will ask the candidate for the 27 congressional district if they would like to come and sit here. And we will go. Yeah. Yeah, ballot order is the best. He's not here, Yes, we're doing the ballot order.
And Chris?
Right here. Yeah.
Michael. Come on down here. Michael, number 4. Sherry.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least nobody brought any tomatoes.
You don't know that yet?
You're right.
So again, we are going in ballot order for those of you who want to follow on your ballot. They have 2-minute opening statement, 1 question with between 1 and 2 minutes max, well, 2-minute response, and only 1 question. same question for all three candidates, and then a 2-minute closing statement in reverse order. So we'll start with number 1.
Ready? Go ahead. Don't tell me how long we've got.
Don't get in front of you.
Oh, don't? Okay, you want to be here? Oh, nice.
All right, I'm a preacher's kid, so I'll try to keep it short. But most of you know me. I'm not Beck Brune. I am Steve Ray. I'm a general consultant here in Nueces County. Some of you know me because in 2008, you were here with me when we got Todd Hunter elected. Others of you know me because in 2010, we got rid of a 27-year liberal Democratic incumbent. And so I'm proud to be here with y'all tonight because y'all were a major force in doing that. I'm especially proud to be here tonight because I'm representing Beck Brune. Beck Brune is a Corpus Christi boy. He was born and raised here. Tonight he can't be here because he's in Rockport, Texas, where they're honoring him for the work that he did with Hurricane Harvey. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit about him. He was the chair of the Texas Water Development Board, appointed to the Water Development Board by two of the most conservative governors in the state of Texas, Governor Rick Perry and Governor Greg Abbott. They helped save millions of dollars for taxpayers. And I think the big difference between Beck and all these other guys that are up here, and they're all great guys, but the big difference for Beck is this. Beck knows how to get things done. He knows how to work and get things done and make them happen for Nueces County, for District 27, and for the state of Texas, and most of all, for the United States of America. So I'm going to ask you tonight to vote for Beck Brune because he's the best candidate in District 27 for Congress. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Eddie Gassman. I'm actually the local candidate. I'm the one who's lived here for 50 years. I live right around the corner over here off Tesoro and Whitecap. Okay? I haven't just moved into the district. I'm not living in Rockport. I'm not living in Kingsville. I'm living right here in Corpus Christi, where all of you probably have seen me or have been into your house. I'm a small businessman. And as a small businessman, I know how to pay a paycheck at the end of the day. I feel like in this race it's been a little unusual because in order to win in Corpus Christi, you have to claim that you're a local candidate and that you've lived here and you're a long-time resident. I kind of find that offensive a little bit, and the reason why is because when you've lived here for 50 years and work here for 50 years, and you go into people's houses and you see how they live, it's important that you ask yourself, what do you want from your representative? Somebody who is in Austin and lives in somewhere else that claims they know you, or somebody who is you? And I am you. I've lived in your district for 50 years. I've lived here in Corpus for 50 years. I'm a graduate of Carroll High School. I went to Del Mar College, CCSU, which is Corpus Christi State University for anybody that wasn't here before then. And I'd like to represent you because I'm the one that really knows you, because I am you. I'm not from somewhere else claiming I'm the local person. Thank you.
How are you? My name is Chris Mapp, and I'm from Port O'Connor, Texas. I've been here for, about 22 years in the district, small business owner. I have 4 great kids. I have a wonderful wife who allows me to do this. And I'm going to kind of cut this to the side a little bit and get right to the issues. When I was coming in today, I heard an advertisement from Mr. Brune that talked about Texas values. I'm sharing with you, I paid my property taxes in Calhoun County for the last 22 years. I'm sharing with you, Mr. Brune can't say that, and when he talks about taking Texas values to Washington, D.C., let me remind you, he lives in Austin, and Austin's a sanctuary city. That's not representative of District 27. That does not represent me. If you live in a farming community, you send a farmer. If you live in a business community, you send a business person, and that's what I am. My values are very common sense. I have a unique way of seeing right through things and getting to the heart of the matter. I'm going to share with you that this district, especially down here on the island, I'm expecting to hear questions tonight that talk about the island. We've talked about the port, we've talked about many other things. Erosion control, there is so much talked about with your beaches and the fisheries. And for those of you who actually fish in the Gulf of Mexico like I do, something called the snapper limit is a small deal, but it's a real big deal. So I'm sharing with you that my name is Chris Mapp. I'm a small business candidate. My #1 platform is vocational education back in our middle school arenas. That's what's going to rebuild this country after Harvey. Those are the hands that built this country. I appreciate your time. MappForCongress.com. Thank you so much.
Yeah, not yet. We do the question after all the opening statements.
Hello. Hi, I'm Michael Cloud, and I am one of the candidates for U.S. Congress in the 27th District. I came to Texas as soon as I could. I came straight out of college. I went to Oral Roberts University and actually came here to work for a church. Worked for a church for about 10 years. It was a rather large church. Ended up having about 4,000 members, still does. Still part of the church, but I ended up going into politics. I actually felt kind of the call, almost like you would going in the mission field. And when I did, I started a small business really to buy back my time so that I could volunteer in the political world. I've been a county chair for 4 terms. I'm on the State Republican Executive Committee. I say all that to say all my political experience is at the grassroots, not establishment. I wasn't brought here by any special interest to run. All my professional experiences in the private sector and ministry. And so I approach this position from a different realm. People ask, why do you want to go to Washington? I don't want to go to Washington. I'm willing to go to Washington. And I think that's a very important distinction to make. My oldest is headed into junior high. I have a small business, so I have a flexible schedule. My wife's a teacher. We have a comfortable, wonderful life. But when I look at what's being done in Washington, $21 trillion in debt. We constantly spend more than we need. The bureaucracy's out of control. We have a Congress that continually takes authority from the people and then takes what is their due authority and gives it over to the executive branch or judicial committee and doesn't hold them in check, and then comes back to you and washes their hands of it and says, well, you know, that's the EPA. They're the ones trying to get into your backyard pond. Well, Congress gave them the authority to do that, and it's time for Congress to take back their authority. Also, it's time that we have people in Congress who are going to look at laws from the lens of the people, to be a representative of the people. We don't need people who pass Obamacare and then exempt themselves from the laws that they pass. We need people who are going to understand that you are there to be a person of the people. One book about, what's that mean, 30 seconds?
30 seconds.
Okay. I'll just say this then. I'm from the district. I built my business in the district. My kids are born here. I'm here to serve the people because I think we need people who are going to go there and represent the people of this great district.
Hi, I'm Jerry Hall. Why I got into this race? I got into this race in October 2016 at the request of several congressional friends of mine. They had some inside information, and I came down here and started working and campaigning and going through the district. I've been coming down to Corpus for 20 years, and I know Corpus very well. But they started saying that there was going to be a problem. And so I got into this race because I believe that we need to put God back in our schools, courts, and our government. And we need people to represent you. And that's a real important issue here. We've taken God out of our schools, and look what it's done to across the nation. I want to work with President Trump to help drain the swamp and make things better. I also want to help work with the Nueces County to help increase the port. Help the port, because that's going to bring jobs and prosperities to this district. I also sat on the grand jury, and I want to ask you a question. You all hear that Social Security's going broke, right? Have you ever heard welfare's going broke? Right. Well, I sat on a grand jury. There are 13 grand juries convened. We prosecuted $100 million of welfare fraud in one day. I have a plan to fix that, recoup that loss and that waste, and restore it to the Social Security system that'll fund it well into the future and give everybody a raise. I mean, and also, what about Medicare? All of us that are on Medicare, did we expect to have to pay again for Medicare? I want to work for you. I've got specific things that will help improve your lives, and that's what a congressman should do, help you improve your lives. The $1 trillion, yeah, we're going to all have to work on that. But you need somebody here working with you to improve your lives, make it better. The infrastructure needs help. We need jobs in this district, and I've been good at doing doing that. I created, my company had 2,700 employees, and I put 6,000 people to work in one day. So I know how to bring jobs to this district, and I'll do it. My name is Jerry Hall, and I'd appreciate your vote.
Okay, I'm John Grunwald. Got to admit, I'm another one that came to Texas as soon as I could. An oil company gave me 1 year's worth of salary just so I could move. I couldn't refuse that. That was in 1982. Bought a house then in Houston, retired in 2000, and I live in Egypt, Texas now. For those that don't know, it's outside of Wharton, and don't blink. You're going to miss that rusted out grain elevator. I live down in the river bottom, and I'm washed out yet. The river water was that high during Harvey. In Houston, I went through Ike and Allison, and Allison came straight over, the eye came straight over the house. I still own the house in Houston. I've got a friend taking care of it, and because of Harvey, yes, I'm staying there right now. I occupy 1 bedroom and one bathroom, but I kept it, and I'm going to keep it. FedEx just announced that they're going to put in a 475 acre Midwestern hub within 7 miles. They're going to employ 20,000 people. So I've got to keep that investment. Now, what I do, I'm a CPA. I'm a retired CPA, just as the young lady was. I know the taxes. There's over 16,000 pages of tax code. That's not law, that's code. And that is all stuff that was written by the IRS, and that needs to be reviewed by Congress. Congress has the only right to raise money for the country. So Congress needs to review that tax code and probably get rid of 99% of it. But I don't know, I hate it. I worked out, I can't find anything in it that I want. Some of it, well, they wanted me to stop, they give me a red light. Thank you all. I got on the stove.
Thank you. So because we are so short in time, we will take one question, same for all the candidates. We'll go in reverse order. And so anybody has a good question, short question, but meaningful.
You come to the mic. What is your position on funding and building a physical wall to defend our borders?
Okay, you build a 30-foot wall, they're going to build a 35-foot ladder. You bury it 10 feet in the ground, they're going to bury or dig a tunnel 20 feet under the ground. To me, a wall isn't what you need. What we need is personnel sitting on the border, protecting our border. The wall, shoot, they'll come over it, they'll go under it. Who else thinks of what happens? When they want to, anybody that wants to will come wherever. Thank you.
Well, folks, we need the wall. And we need we've got high technology that can help monitor areas that we can't put the wall in, along rivers and mountains. So it's important. I've got rancher friends that on the border have been murdered and robbed from the criminal aspects coming across the border. So we need to protect Americans first. And to do that, we need to build the wall. And then the rest will fall into place. I lived outside of the United States for 12 years. In the country I lived in, if you came across that border, you didn't have a choice. You went to prison if you didn't have the proper papers. We're the only country that says, come on in and we're going to give you Social Security and welfare. I was in Latin America and a lady came up to me and was arguing the point that she was waiting for her Social Security check. And I said, are you American? She goes, no, and it's none of your business. And I'm going, here we are giving Social Security checks to people that are not even Americans. Why is that happening and how is it happening? Well, what's happening is they're bringing their children from another country and they're having their births in the United States and then going back to their countries. Because they think the entitlement is there, that they can cheat the system. We need to stop that with the walls, and the front door is well open for people who want to come through it legally. Thank you.
My wife is a naturalized citizen, and so I can talk to you about the pragmatics of actually going through the immigration system, but I can tell you that when we got to the border, they did not know what to do with somebody coming through the legal process. We spent 2 hours at the border as they tried to figure out, do we stamp her passport, do we sign it? They were calling Washington, D.C., they were gathering their staff around. That was just the beginning of the chaos that ensued. But here's the deal. When she stood in the Corpus Christi courthouse over here and said the Pledge of Allegiance to become an American citizen, next to her was some lady from Croatia, another lady from Russia, and when they said the Pledge of Allegiance, tears are streaming down their face because it meant something. So this isn't about whether we like immigrants or not. Don't. I'm married to one. I'm madly in love with one. But the deal is we have to uphold the rule of law. And so we need to build a wall where it makes sense to build a wall. Beyond that, we need technology. We need boots on the ground. We need everything we need to secure the border. We need to get rid of sanctuary cities because we can't expect our people to follow the law if we don't expect our officials to follow the law. And work on our immigration courts, get rid of the incentives where we take care of illegal aliens better than we do our veterans. So these are the things we need to fix when it comes down to it. We can work at making the immigration system more simpler, but we definitely need to secure the border. It's extremely important.
To answer your question, build the wall. That's what you asked. That's the answer. The other answer is E-Verify. Put some teeth into it. The second part of E-Verify is landlords and those who rent also. No place to work, no place to live, and take away the entitlement money. You take away the incentive to want to be here. I will share with you this: the immigration issue to come here legally needs to be streamlined. The illegal immigration issue has to be stopped in its tracks immediately. Thank you.
I think the issue is border security, and the question was wall. Yes, you do need a wall. Walls do work. And like John says, they'll build a 30-foot ladder. The problem is how do you get down the other side? But with border security, basically what you need is three things. You have to have immigration reform, what do you do with the people here, and then border security and enforcement. Problem is, one thing is we don't enforce a lot of our laws because we don't have the money and we don't have the manpower. Second thing is what do you do with the people here? You know, right now you're trying to do DACA, and that's fine, but what are you going to do with the adults that are here? You've got to find a solution to that. We need to have a little bit better guest worker program, but also with border security, you're going to have to find a way to do something with the children that are already here. You know, I technically would like to kick them all out because they broke the law and they don't belong here. That's emotionally, but practically that's not going to work. So you're going to have to change things when it comes to legal immigration. You need to speed it up, make it quicker, faster for people who want to legally immigrate, take away the incentives to sneak, defund sanctuary cities. And with all three of those, that's how you're going to get what he wants, and that's border security. You can't do it with the wall alone. It's going to take all three of those things. You can't do one without the other. Usually problems have more than one solution, and sometimes there's 2 or 3 problems to every issue. So you can have an issue, and there's going to be multiple ways to fix it, and you can't do it on its own. So border security, what do you do with the people here, and immigration reform, and that's the way you're going to do that, and I am for the wall. Now, you don't need a wall from one ocean to the other because you have natural barriers such as rivers and mountains. So you will get the wall from me.
Well, I'll just take a couple of minutes of my time just to say, State Representative Todd Hunter just came in. I want to thank him for all the work that he's done here for this tonight and for all the work he's done for North Padre Island as well. Now, a lot of people will tell you if you really want border security, you put Todd Hunter down on the border, because I've seen him work with those legislators and he could probably take care of it. But for Beck Brune, I will tell you he believes in building the wall, and where you cannot build a physical wall, go in there and take care of it with drones and high technology that we're using to fight terrorism in other countries. We've got the stuff to do it now. Let's get it done. Let's make it happen, and let's support President Trump's plan to build the wall. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we go to your closing statement. So we'll be coming back.
All right, closing statement. I want to just tell all of you one thing. You know, these, like I said before, these guys up here are nice guys. They're going to all stand here and they're all going to tell you that that our culture has to be fixed in Washington, D.C., that we need the wall, that, you know, illegal immigration is bad. We can go down the list and we're going to agree on just about every one of those issues. The big thing to remember in this congressional district is this. This election is extremely important for Nueces County and for all of the coast and all of District 27. Because we have to have a congressman. We have to have a congressman who can get things done in Washington, D.C. And the person who can do that is Beck Brune. He knows how to work in the bureaucracy. He's seen it happen. He's had to work with it before in the federal bureaucracy, and he's got things done. And I'm going to tell you, folks, we can send a lot of people up to Washington, D.C., but if they can't get something done for this district, it doesn't do us a dang bit of good. So I'm going to tell you right now that the person we need to vote for is Beck Brune, because he can work with the other folks and make sure that we can get the things done to move the district forward. Thank you.
Well said by somebody representing special interest, not yours. He's part of the problem. He is the bureaucracy. That's what he is. That's what he represents. You want somebody that represents you. If you want somebody that fixes problems, you get a contractor or somebody, a working man like me or Chris Mapp. Okay, that's who fixes things. We don't go up there and we don't work with special interest. You know, a lot of times when you elect somebody, do you really know them? Do you ever see them? Do you know who they are? Do they know you? I can assure you, if you elect somebody like me and Chris, we're going to be in this area. We live here. We're going to be available to you. We're not part of that. Because I guarantee you one thing, when you elect somebody who's part of the problem, they're not looking out for you. They're looking out for themselves and special interest. That's who they're looking out for. And when you see those big giant signs all over town, you know that there's a big long string headed right back to special interest and big money. And how many millionaires do we got sitting in here? Okay, because you got more than half of your congressmen in Washington that are millionaires. And I guarantee you they're looking out for themselves, and that's why they're still there and we're still here.
Real hot. I'm going to just contrast something for just a moment. This is not pick on Mr. Brune because he's not here, but let's just be fair. In 2008 and 9, 2007, I just borrowed $1.2 million for my business. 2008 and 9 comes along, and it took about 10 years off my life because when you don't have the access to money and your business dries up, that's called adversity. Adversity will not define you, but it will refine you. How do you represent a district when you're insulated? How do you represent a district when you're never going to miss a paycheck? How do you represent a district when you're not having to write the check for your team members' insurance when the money's just not there? You add an extra mortgage to your house, you sell everything you own, you tell your guys it's going to be okay, you work extra hard, you find extra jobs, you do whatever it takes. That's called adversity, and it's called overcoming adversity. Let me explain something to you. You can't spend 18 years in an insulated position and understand what the needs of the district are. You just can't do it. This is a ground floor district. We're a blue-collar district. I said earlier that vocational education is the #1 thing that is my platform because college is not for everybody. I'm sharing with you that up for 19 years, I worked 7 days a week. My dad passed away. I realized I wasn't going to live forever, so I started working 6 days a week. I'm sharing with you I worked that hard for you. I've also gone back to school to get my bachelor's degree because it's personal. It's something that I want to get done. All I'm trying to say is a business owner sees things from a different perspective because we're spending our money, we're not spending your money. I'm not telling you he's not a good guy. I'm telling you he needs 10 years under his belt in private practice to earn a paycheck. That's what I'm telling you. My name is Chris Mapp. Thank you. I am yellow lighted. Thank you.
In a room full of Republicans, we understand how important it is electing somebody who understands the difference between Republicans and Democrats. We need somebody who's going to uphold our religious liberties. We need somebody who's going to protect the Second Amendment. We need somebody who's going to watch out for our veterans. We need somebody who's going to represent our district well. We understand all this. Even more importantly is that bridge that's developed between, or that divide that's developed though between people and their government. We need people who are going to go there and build that bridge to the government. President Trump said it best in his State of the Union address when he looked at the Capitol and said, "This is the monument to the people." When he said, "The government belongs to the people." Constantly, continually, we pass bills that undermine the people. The Open Data Act that Congress is looking at right now, they're saying they're going to make data transparent, but they're exempting themselves. Every other branch of government, and they're going to come back to you and say, "We did a great thing, we made government transparent," but they exempted the Government Accountability Office and the Federal Elections Commission. This the kind of thinking that must stop in Washington. This is the kind of government you're getting from bureaucrats you send to Washington. If you like the $21 trillion of debt, if you like us spending more than we make every year, go ahead, send somebody who's backed out of special interest. You certainly have that option. I'm not going to be that candidate. Somebody asked me the other day, are you get along or a get it on candidate? I'm a get it on candidate. I understand the need to work with people. I've done that. I have a history of doing that. You can check my track record. I've been in the public eye for a while now and have a history of getting things done and getting people to work together to get things done who don't even agree with each other. So that's the kind of congressman I would work to be. I would work to serve you with integrity, and I guess probably my time's up by now. But thank you very much. Michael Cloud. Do I still have more time? Okay. My website is cloudforcongress.com. My Facebook is cloudforcongress.com. God bless you. I asked for your vote. Thank you very much.
Gosh, I could have taken his time. My name is Jerry Hall, and the reason I got in this race is I have 30 years of experience dealing with the federal government. By my profession, I'm a federal mediator. I negotiate disputes with the federal government from all different levels, contract, labor disputes. Matter of fact, I helped develop, you don't hear going postal anymore, right? Well, I helped develop the program for the U.S. Postal Service that stopped that, an internal conflict resolution program. I also helped develop the dispute resolution systems throughout Texas that are now helping indigent people that can't afford lawyers resolve their disputes free. And it's reduced the crime rates in the communities as well. I worked with federal Washington in all kinds of capacities, contracts. I see the waste there. Every year, September the 1st is the deadline for them to spend every bloody dime they can spend so they can increase their budget the next year. As a common sense person, I would say I will reward you if you don't spend that money and help make the government put the money back into the government. You know, we're rewarding them for spending the money and wasting it. And when it's not your money, it's a great deal. You want to make everybody feel good. And the welfare system is just that. If I'm giving your money away, I'm going to feel great. And the person I'm giving it to is going to feel better. That's our problem with our system. We're trying to be too generous when we need to take care of America first and keep the money in our country and not give it away to these foreign governments that absolutely hate our guts. So you need somebody that's well adapted to deal with Washington, not someone on training wheels. We don't need somebody that's going up there and trying to feel around with their hands and go, what do I do? They may have state experience, but it's a lot different than federal. It's a lot different. So I would appreciate your vote on March 6th or tomorrow, because we still have early voting. My name is Jerry Hall. Thank you very much.
Okay, I got the green light now. My name is John Grunwald. I have international experience. The Panama Canal has just been made wider. That is going to increase the exports in this area. Agriculture, I understand that. I was raised on a farm. Exports, I've worked internationally, I've worked Pacific Rim, I've worked Europe, I've worked with many, many people on borrowing money, etc. We worked with attorneys, $100 million deals. A bunch of us would get together, this was the deal. The attorneys would get together, the deal ended up this big. Also, right now, with our 16 or whatever trillion dollar debt, every baby that is born right now owes over $62,000 of that debt, each and every one of us. Also, we got 16,000 pages of tax code, not law, but tax code. So we have a lot to do in Congress. And I have been working internationally. I've been working in a lot of different places. I've worked with big deals, big companies. I know how to work with the big stuff. I want to get rid of the bureaucracy. There's too much of it in Congress, too much of it in government. One of the places I went to, there were 3 guys sitting in the hallway. Each one was trying to change their title so that they could get more money. They couldn't figure out how to do it, but they tried, and they ended up being where they were. I worked with MARAD, the Maritime Administration, building ships, building oil rigs, so I'm experienced with the oil companies and everything, and they're giving me the yellow light, which means warning. And I better say, that's it. Thank you.
March of 16 we've got right now.
I will now call on, I think it is John who is representing Governor Abbott. Is it John or Alex? Which one of you? John? We have a group of young guys here representing Governor Abbott and that are doing a tremendous job helping the party build up its force in Wetchase County, so please.
Hello everyone, my name is John Barris and I work for Governor Greg Abbott. Well, I'd like to ask for your vote for Governor Abbott in the primary. I'd also like to talk to you for a minute about the important work we're doing in terms of volunteer work. Everything we do is benefiting every single candidate in this campaign. We want to keep Texas red, and without your help, we cannot do that. So I'm asking you to please join me in our volunteer efforts. We have block walks every single Saturday. If you can't join us for our block walks, we have phone banks every Thursday. Those are from 6 to 8. Our block walks are on Saturdays from 10 until 1. And all of this meets at the Nueces County GOP headquarters. You can find me there every day if you want to come talk to us and get involved. Other things to keep in mind, on primary night, if you want to join us at the Nueces County GOP headquarters, we will be having an election results watch party. That's going to be starting at 6. Refreshments will be provided. So please join us for that, and please join us for all of our other great volunteer efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Lieutenant Governor, is Scott Milder here? I have not seen him at the arrive, so looks like he did not make it. So we will skip that race and go to the next one. Commissioner for the General Land Office. I know here we have at least 2 candidates. We're supposed to have 3. I saw 2, so if you will please come and have a seat, please. Yeah. So now we're starting with Jerry Patterson is first on the ballot.
Okay, I won the lottery and I'm going to strangle my opponent here. Okay, so I want to get this over with right now. I'm tired of it. I'm Jerry Patterson. I'm a candidate for Texas Land Commissioner. A little bit about me. I grew up in Houston. I went to Texas A&M where I crammed a normal 4-year course of study into only 5.5 years, and I finished in the top 75% of my class. I was commissioned as a lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. I served 24 years active in reserve in the U.S. Marine Corps Semper Fi. And including a tour in Vietnam at the end of the war. I'd like to also point out my son is a Marine with 3 tours as a helicopter pilot in the war on terror. He currently has a new gig though. When that green Marine 1 lands on the White House and the president comes off and gives a snappy salute to the Marine sentry there. If you look up in the cockpit, that's my boy right up there. I was in the legislature for 6 years, in the Senate for 6 years. I was the author of the Texas Concealed Handgun Law in 1995 and several other legislative accomplishments that I won't bore you with right now. I served as land commissioner for 12 years and I retired, expecting I would never again be on the ballot. But the gentleman that followed me has changed my mind, and maybe we'll have a little opportunity to talk about that a little later. I know the question you're all thinking. I know what you're thinking. I'm not Dirty Harry, but I know what you're thinking. Did I vote for Hillary Clinton? Because my opponent is saying that I voted for Hillary Clinton. I did not, but I would have had I been on the jury. So. Now, I will tell you that Davey is a friend of mine, and the other gentleman, Rick Range, is a friend of mine. We have pledged each other that whoever gets in the runoff, we're going to support. And I will also tell you, in the 12 events, campaign forums, We've been to them, and our incumbent opponent has yet to attend one, not one. Where's George? Thank you.
If we can ask everybody to respect the candidates, please, and we have a little bit too much noise in the back, so if you want to socialize, later.
That'll help drown me out. I was going to say that I'm Jerry Patterson, and I've served on the Senate, and I'm the one that introduced the handgun bill. My point being, we've been to the candidate forums all over Texas with each other. I know what he's going to say. He probably knows what I'm going to say. But our opponent, the incumbent, has yet to show up at any of these forums and answer the questions that the voters want answers for. We're here. We're answering them. I'm Davey Edwards, and I'm running for Texas Land Commissioner also. We all have a common goal, and that is to preserve and protect Texas heritage. But we all bring to the table a little bit different qualifications. I'm a land surveyor by trade. The Texas General Land Office primary responsibility is to the stewardship of sovereign lands of Texas. For the permanent school fund, which helps fund Texas education. But the heated debate, the heated part of this race is the Alamo. And as a sixth-generation Texan, I was concerned with the direction the reimagined plan was taking. Downplaying the Battle of 1836, changing up the architectural and the historic integrity. But then it goes even further. We have issues with Hurricane Harvey. We have issues with the permanent school fund. We have issues with the way that we're contracting out different parts to different departments and what's being transparent and what's not being transparent. We don't need that in the General Land Office. The General Land Office deserves respect. The incumbent called it a dog catcher's position. I respect this position because I'm a land surveyor and I know what it means for Texas, and I know what the Alamo means to Texans.
Yes, we are waiting for question.
On our beaches, because we're here on the island, that's part of your jobs, I believe, protecting Texas beaches. What will you do for our beaches?
So my degree, my doctorate degree is in geosciences. I have several courses in geology and I understand different aspects of geology. And part of the General Land Office, as you mentioned, is the preservation and maintenance of the coastline. And that is important because we have beach erosion. We have to continue to operate on it. My colleague works at the Conrad Blucher Institute right here on the island, and a part of the responsibility is making sure that the Ticoon project is up and running. The General Land Office used to be a part of that, and they used to contribute to that. They don't anymore. And so one of the things that I want to do is get that back up and running so that we can get that information to the people that need it in order for us to preserve it correctly.
Well, I would do what I had done before. When I was at the Texas General Land Office, we had a Coastal 2020 program. It had to do with many different things that are coastal related. One of them was beach renourishment in those areas where it makes economic sense. And the North Beach right over here is a place where it makes economic sense. I think we participated in one of the renourishments of that beach. We also participated financially in Packery Channel, opening that up. So we have, and I have a lot of experience in coastal issues. But coastal issues right now, for you that live on the coast, is Hurricane Harvey. And I will tell you something, and maybe we'll have time to talk about this a little more. Commissioner George P. Bush took 4 months to do the first prep partial repair and emergency power and shelter homes. Took him 4 months to do 2. In the state of Louisiana, when they had the Baton Rouge floods, it put about 200,000 people out of their homes. 4 months after that, Baton Rouge floods of September of 2016, the state of Louisiana had done 10,017 homes. 2 versus 10,017. That was the greatest disaster in Texas history, and it was the greatest failure to perform in the case of the General Land Office in its history. And that was not because of a mistake. That was because of a conscious decision not to do the partial repair, emergency power, and shelter program, but instead use FEMA trailers. That was a decision made, and that's a decision that's impacting Rockport and Port Aransas and Aransas Pass, those communities that have no one there to work. You can't recover the community if you don't have anybody who will actually go to work, and they won't go to work not because they're lazy, because they had to move away. And that decision was the Land Office decision, and after I filed for office on December the 11th, of 2017, 4 days later, the Land Office signed a contract to begin the PREPS program on the Texas Gulf Coast and areas impacted by Harvey. That's just damn unsatisfactory, and we can't put up with that kind of BS anymore, and I will fix it.
So I'm Davey Edwards, and I'm running for Land Commissioner, and I'd like to have your vote. You can start voting tomorrow, and keep voting. I think we got till March 6th.
Is this
Yeah, it is, right? This is the second, yeah. That's right. But as Jerry mentioned, you know, our opponent who hasn't shown up to any of these forums and answered any of the questions that are being out there on any of the issues. And yet he's got advertisements that are going on right now that said that his plan to get everybody back into a disaster relief area is working just fine. And everything is just the way he planned it. So if that's the way he planned it and this is what we got going on, then something is not working on it. But we can't ask him anything because he's not here to answer it. So when you go to the polling booth tomorrow and you vote 5 or 6 times, you be sure to think about 2 things when you go down your ballot list. You think about who is going to be qualified, you know, with the knowledge of the stewardship of Texas lands, and who's going to be able to take that and move forward with it. And the second thing is, who's going to preserve and protect Texas heritage and save the Alamo from any changes, alterations to the architectural and historic integrity of the Alamo. And those 2 things, when you're done, you're going to think it's going to be Davey Edwards. Because on March 6, 1836, Texians went in to fight for the Alamo. And up from the ashes of those Alamo rose a great nation. On March 6, 2018, Texans are going to go fight for the Alamo again, this time with votes. And so we need your votes. So I do hope that I get your vote.
Okay, we're closing now, right? Okay, all right. That'll look prettier when it's closing time. Don't you hear that? You heard that? I want to talk a little bit more about the Alamo. One of the problems with the Alamo plan is it's called a reimagine plan. We don't need to reimagine the Alamo. We need to remember the Alamo. Another problem about the plan is that it calls for removing the cenotaph, the Alamo Defenders Monument, from the Alamo premises. I'm sick and tired of monuments being removed. I've had my belly full of political correctness. I will also tell you that this is not something I'm making up or Davey or Rick Range is making up. In September of 2017, the State Republican Executive Committee voted 57-1 to censure Commissioner Bush for his lack of transparency in dealing with the Alamo and the funding and the employees. And then in December 5th of 2017, the Senate Finance Committee ripped a new one, if you will. And what we now know, that there was an audit, internal audit at the Land Office that has been in draft form since September that agreed with this SREC and the Senate Finance Committee, but it's still in draft form because as long as it's a draft form, it's not subject to open records requests. I'm not making this stuff up. I'll also tell you that recently, and the TV is up, the radio is up, you know, And you've heard that Commissioner Bush is a retired Navy officer. He's not a retired Navy officer. He served for a year and a half active duty and several years in the reserve. He's not retired, but it sounds good on a political mailer. You may have heard recently that he contributed $4 billion to public education. He didn't. He contributed $300 million, and the State Board of Education, the Texas Education Association, contributed $3.7 billion. That's fuzzy math. We don't need any fuzzy math. And I will also tell you that I mentioned those 2 homes when I said that only 2. I was challenged by the press. That can't be right. PolitiFact confirmed it's only 2 homes. We need a different direction, and any one of us 3 can do that. But I hope I'm the guy that you pick, because I can beat him in a runoff, and I think we're going to be in a runoff. God bless you, and God bless Texas.
Thank you very much to both.
I'd really like to know this. I keep reading President Trump has endorsed him for the land. First of all, I don't understand why the president endorsed someone for land. I don't.
President
is
is not endorsed.
Wait, what is the question?
The president has endorsed no one in this race.
Well, that's something that's.
Yeah, we read that.
But it is not true.
Thank you. Commissioner Agriculture right now. I think we have Ty representing Trey Blocker. Is that right? Are you here? I know Trey finally could not make it, so thank you for being here.
Howdy. I appreciate you having me here today. My name is Ty Chumley, and I'm representing Trey Blocker for Commissioner of Agriculture. I'm going to talk to y'all kind of as a voter, more than as a representative. So my kind of trade is I'm a professor of agriculture at Palo Alto College there in San Antonio, Texas. And so I'm going to start with kind of a question. How many of y'all use agriculture today? Raise your hand if you use agriculture today. Y'all did, right? We all got dressed. We all ate. Well, guys, a big problem when I asked the many students here in Texas, they don't understand that. They said, I don't ever use ag. You know, I don't use ag at all. And that's a scary thing when you think about. And so as a voter, educator of agriculture, it's really important for me to, really get involved in politics and support the people that understand what we need. We need people that are going to, support youth programs like 4-H and FFA programs. We need somebody in office that's going to support our farmers. The average age of a farmer in Texas is 60 years old. So our farmers are getting much older. And as we think about that, 2% of our population feeds the other 98%. So as our farmers get older, they're going to need more help. They're going to need more farm subsidies. They're going to need more people to come up and help them and realize more technology. And Trey Blocker is a person who really understands that. Sid Miller came in, and the first thing he did was raise fees on farmers, which caused a lot of problems here in Texas. And so really when we think about how important ag is in our everyday lives as far as getting dressed, eating, maintaining a healthy diet, really want you to really take the time and really think about, who's going to support the farmers, who's going to support the ranchers here in Texas, and really understand what ag's all about. And I think that's really important to me. So speaking as a voter myself, Trey Blocker is the person I'm going to support because I understand, because he understands what Texas needs. He understands that Texas agriculture is a vital part of our education, a vital part of our economy, and he's going to support our farmers through and through, and that's why I support Trey Blocker myself.
Thank you very much. So we have the Railroad Commissioner race. I think we have both candidates here. Yeah, Wesson Martinez and Christi Craddick. Oh no, she's represented, Christi Craddick. So if you will, take a seat. I think you are first.
Okay. Well, howdy, I'm Weston Martinez. Good to see you running for Texas Railroad Commissioner. I'm glad y'all are here tonight, and thank you for being here. You know what? It's a great time in Texas, and people in Corpus Christi and on the island, they know how important the Railroad Commission is. And it's very important because we need pipelines and refineries to keep on moving, and we need to make sure that we are putting people back to work. But I tell you what, I am so thankful that we have a president that actually cares about energy and actually cares about Americans and is going up there and is fighting all of the establishment and is draining swamp at the federal level. Is anybody else excited about that? Because it is so good that we have a president. It's so good that we have a president that, like me, my wife, and our 5 kids, that cares about what these stars and stripes mean. We have to raise the next generation to respect the stars and stripes. They need to stand for the flag, they need to support law enforcement, and they need to be God-fearing people that realize they have to serve something greater than themselves. Let me tell you, I'm a commissioner. I've been a conservative leader for all kinds of things all over Texas. The bathroom bill in San Antonio, I'm the guy that started the recall election against our liberal mayor over there, who started the bathroom bill in San Antonio. And, we call it Sodom and Gomorrah once in a while, because that's really what it is. And there's a lot of things that have been happening. But I was blessed to serve on the Real Estate Commission for over 6 years. So I've got the experience as a commissioner for over 6 years. And I've had my own oil and gas service companies selling frack water down here in the Eagle Ford Shale. So I had my own operator's license actually. So I've signed the front of the paycheck, not just the back of the paycheck. We have to make sure that we are putting people in office that actually are going to drain the swamp. Is anybody glad we've got a couple of legislators that are not going back to Austin this year? Exactly. I'll tell you more in just a minute, but as we were working through this race, there's lots of things that have been happening, and we were working through making the decision. Christi had increased the tax on the industry, but the decision that actually broke the camel's back was I was loading up to come down here to help for Hurricane Harvey Wednesday after, and Christi Craddock called me to ask me for her endorsement the Wednesday after the hurricane hit. That was not right.
Thanks for having me tonight, guys. My name is Adrian Piloto. I'm not Christi Craddock. She had another engagement tonight, so that's why I'm here. Thanks to y'all. Thank y'all for allowing me to speak. I'll keep it short and simple since I'm not the actual candidate. Ms. Craddock is the current chairman of the Road Commission, first elected in 2012, so she definitely has the experience to do, for the job. She's been endorsed by Governor Abbott, Texas Right to Life, energy industry officials across the state. She has what it takes. I agree with Mr. Martinez. That's thankful to be. We're glad to be down here in a room full of actual Republicans. I came from Austin. You don't see this many Republicans in a room at any given moment. So, thank y'all for coming out, and I look forward to answering any questions y'all have.
One question, and it's your choice to answer it or not.
If I can answer it.
Exactly. One question.
Question on energy. As you know, Railroad Commission, nothing to do with railroads, or not much.
And closing statement?
All right, guys. Well, like I said, thank you all so much for having me. Christi Craddock for Road Commissioner. It's a lot easier times now, the Road Commission, with this new administration. They had to do with a lot of federal overreach. The last administration, they didn't necessarily like oil and gas, I guess you could say that. The Road Commission on a daily basis had to deal with 200 federal regulations that I watch on any given day. Now with this presidential administration, they deal with 7. So it's a lot happier times over there right now. Oil and gas is booming. They're putting people back to work. The industry is growing. So as Christi's always said, their job as a commissioner is to do their job as effectively and cost efficiently as possible while staying out of industry's way, while keeping the environment safe and just letting the economy grow and boom and grow jobs. So that's what they're doing. They're looking forward to that. And if y'all have any more questions, I didn't get to talk to a lot of y'all before, come grab me over there and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Thank y'all so much.
As we've driven around the state of Texas, Christi has not shown up. She sent her representatives, and they've done a good job. And God bless them for helping. But let me tell you what, when you talk about President Trump, it's very interesting. I'm the only one in this race that endorsed Ted Cruz in the primary and actively endorsed and worked and supported Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton for the presidency of the United States. And that means something in all parts of Texas. Her dad's excuse in Odessa, where she didn't show up to her backyard, he said, well, that's because Donald Trump never asked Christi for her endorsement. It's a tad bit on the arrogant side, folks. But look, when we talk about oil and gas, there's a pipeline case that's going on right now that Christi Craddock is trying to set the market rate on a pipeline. That is not free market conservative principles. If you set a rate, you're no better than Obama. And that costs refinery jobs in Corpus Christi. That is a big deal. Let me tell you what else you didn't hear about. The Corpus Christi ship improvements. That hasn't happened because one of the things that hasn't happened is Chairman of the Railroad Commission, Christi Craddock, has not lifted a finger to get Congress off their butt to get out there and help get this done. As your commissioner, I will work hard to put Texans back to work. I will work hard to put refinery workers back to work, and I will work hard to make sure that we are producing more oil and gas than we have. Currently, right now, we're producing more oil and gas than we have in a generation. We have OPEC on the run. We have an opportunity to make things so much better with our economy. But yet, I talk to people at the Railroad Commission that work there, and they've told me, and I'll give you a sworn statement, they've told me, don't let operators fill out paperwork when they come in. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pro-life, pro-gun, pro-family, pro-Israel, and most importantly, I'm pro-Texas. I'm Weston Martinez.
Thank you. Thank you very much to both. So we skip a few races and we go to the race for judge for the Court of Criminal Appeals, place 8. I know Judge Dave Waldrip has sent a representative.
Yes, ma'am. I am not Deb Waldrip by any means. My name is Gary Adams. I'm representing Deb here today. Just to let you know just a little bit about Mr. Waldrip. Mr. Waldrip graduated from Texas A&M, became a policeman in New Braunfels, and then he went to St. Mary's where he got his law degree and became an attorney. After being an attorney for a while, he became the district attorney for Comal County. After that, he has moved on to the 433rd Judicial Court, Criminal Court, and he's asking for your support as he runs for the Criminal Court of Appeals for the state of Texas. Just a few notes is that he's one of the only ones that has been in all 4 positions. He understands the criminal process, and like he likes to say, he's the only one that understands how to catch them, clean them, and cook them. Thank you, Deb Waldrip for Criminal Court of Appeals.
Thank you very much. Now we are going to the State Board of Education, District 2, and I think both of the candidates are here. Maybe only one.
Well, good evening. Pleasure to be with you all tonight. Thank you for the invitation and for the opportunity to be here. My name is Eric Garza, and I'm a proud Texas Aggie from Harlingen, Texas. And I'm running for the Texas State Board of Education for 3 main reasons. The first one is I want to make sure that our public dollars are spent in a responsible manner that closes the achievement gap and provides equitable resources to all of our schools across all of our districts across the 17 counties in our District 2 State Board of Education. And I want to make sure that our curriculum is well-rounded enough that teaches across all subject matters without teaching students to the test, alleviating pressure on our educators in the classroom. And finally, I want to make sure that parents like you have a choice in deciding what is the best educational option for your child and get government out of deciding that you have to go to a specific school just because of the zip code or the neighborhood that you live in. And so those are 3 reasons why I'm running. I'm a current school board member of a public charter district in the Rio Grande Valley. And so I've been serving in that seat for nearly 3.5 years, and I understand firsthand the plight of the classroom, dealing with teachers, with parents, with community stakeholders, having to vote on spending public dollars for our school district. And so I'm adamant about bringing that experience to the State Board of Education. And so I don't want to take any more of your time. There's a lot of candidates tonight, but I humbly ask for your vote in this primary election. And I sincerely look forward to the opportunity of being your next member on the State Board of Education. Eric Garza, State Board of Education, thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Tad Hassey. I'm also running for the State Board of Education, and I'm the only candidate that can win in the general election, but we'll get into that at the end. I've been a Boy Scout Scoutmaster for 14 years. During that period of time, my troop produced more Eagle Scouts than any troop in the Valley. I've taught high school math at a charter school. Presently, I work as an IT technician for Brownsville Municipal Court. Mathematics has always been a particular passion of mine. There is nobody on the State Board of Education that has a math background. And that's why you have a lot of that Common Core junk still in the books. It's there. I've read the math books. They're garbage. This afternoon, I was speaking at a group at a university, and I said, the math curriculum that was taught in high school is garbage. I got standing applause from the students and the math faculty that were there. They know that math is not being taught well. If you teach proper mathematics, all the sciences are open to the students. There's nothing they can't learn. It's the basis for all logical thought. It's the queen of all the sciences. And if you wanted a well-rounded education without solid math, you got a flat side on it, folks. All right. I firmly believe that the vocational education needs to change. We need a real vocational education, not a dumping ground like we saw in the 70s. I want it to where when a kid goes at graduation, they walk across the stage, they get their diploma, and they shake the hand of their new employer. This is the proper path for many of our students. We push them through and say, you have to go to college. And we create failures. And they fail out 2 years and thousands of dollars in debt, and they feel like they did something wrong. We did something wrong to them. We did not make it available for them to be able to go to work, okay? They end up warehoused, they don't know enough, and my time is up. Thank you.
Time for one question on education.
I am a former teacher. I serve on a school board. I believe in a traditional education, and I would like to hear what you think about bringing the traditional education back into the classroom. And I want to know some specifics. What do you know exactly about what that means? Do you understand what the trivium is? Do you understand what a classical education is? And how do you think we can indeed let children, whether they're vocational or not, be educated people when they walk across the stage?
First? Okay, one of the things I've seen that happens in the day, this constant testing, it's been sucking up the time for being able to actually teach, okay? Teachers know how to teach. They really do. I think we should let them do it. One of the ways I think that would improve is to get rid of all the top-down teaching by regulation and let the parents of the students have some input into the classroom, like the old PTAs used to work, okay? So a school matched its community, okay? You said traditional education, like the 3 R's type traditional?
Well, it's a little more than that, but...
Okay, commonly referred to as a tradition?
I call it the trivium, so...
The what?
The trivium, and it's a method.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, that methodology, I was taught to teach math. I wasn't a multi-course instructor. But some of the courses I've seen in school, especially social studies, I thought if you're going to teach history, teach history. If you're going to teach geography, teach geography. Don't mix all this stuff up and say, learn all this unrelated stuff. It's confusing for the kids. All right. Did that help answer anything, or did I?
It helped me, yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question. I'll start by answering that education begins in the home before it happens in a public classroom. I'm a firm believer in that. I think our TEKS, our Texas Assessment Essentials of Knowledge and Skills, which are the curriculum centers that we teach our students, have been geared so much towards a testing strategy in evaluating how teachers perform based on that, on how many students pass their test, than really holistically educating the child. And so I believe firmly that our curriculum centers should be revised to where we're teaching a well-rounded education where, by matter of fact, students will be able to pass any benchmark or state exam that they're given. I further believe that we do not have enough paraprofessionals in our classrooms. We have student-to-teacher ratios that are very high in the classroom, and so teachers are having to neglect one-on-one attention to different students. And I believe firmly that group models, tag team teaching, all of those alternatives are good alternatives for providing individualized instruction in the classroom at a local campus level within a local district. And so those are the kind of the elements that I would support, but I think it starts first with the curriculum, which is something that the State Board of Education can have a big hand in deciding what those TEKS really are and then deciding how teachers are going to plan their lesson plans center on those TEKs. But if the state board narrows them so narrowly focused that they're not well-rounded enough, we're not preparing our students so when they walk across that stage that they're academically well to pursue a higher education at a four-year university, at a community college, or if they decide to go to a vocational or technical school to learn a trade or learn a craft. They're walking across our stages with really diminished capacity. And so we're hurting our district, we're hurting our students, and in the future, in the long run, we're going to end up hurting our state with a population educated on paper, not necessarily here.
Closing statement?
Yeah. Can I ask a question real quick? I know you only have one question for Janet, but can I ask another one really quick? That's fine. So we talk about education and TEKs, and we talk about that. No one's really mentioned the fact of the pressures that some teachers are under when it comes to discipline in the classroom. So you can have a great TEK, you can have a great lesson, you can all that and ready to teach, but then no one is addressing the fact that we have persistent misbehaviors. We have attendance issues in classroom as well, and especially for, I'm not going to name any specific district, but where attendance is not being enforced as well. So what is TEA doing about the pressures that some teachers are on when it comes to classroom discipline, classroom management, with some students who are persistent behavior issues?
You can answer with your closing statement.
Okay. She said the operative word, TEA. The State Board of Education sets the standards, the TEA creates the guidelines on. That you're going to have to work with, and I'll help with the state legislature, local law enforcement in some cases, things like that. Okay, does that cut into my closing time, or do I keep, okay. I'm going to tell you why I'm going to be the one that can win this. Y'all Republicans here, the turnout in a gubernatorial year is low for Democrats, especially when they have nothing to pull them out. You've seen what they're running for governor? Not pulling them out. Last cycle, Lori Turner got outblued because down in the valley, we have enough non-Republican voters to turn and keep the seat Democrat. If you have the right Republican that can pull some of these non-Republican votes, we can win it. In Cameron County, I am that person. Let me tell you, the former chief of staff for Eddie Lucio, who got him elected, just put my bumper sticker on his car today. I have the support necessary. And you know, I don't need that much. I don't need to win Cameron County. I just need to pull 40% in Cameron County. And I need not to be beat by more than about 22,000 in Hidalgo County. If we do that, we can turn this seat, and the people down there will have elected a conservative and like it. They know me in the valley. I've worked with their kids. I work with them all the time. I've got half of the Democrat machines in Cameron County willing to back me, and they'll vote for me because they know me. Now, if you don't believe this or don't understand how this works, you owe it to yourself to please come and see me. Come and see Lori. She came here to back me up on this, exactly what happened. And we'll explain this to you, why we can turn this seat and we can have a Republican where a Democrat's been since Reconstruction. Thank you.
Folks, I want to thank you for your time tonight. To the gentlelady's question, I don't know where she is. My mom is an assistant principal of the largest elementary school, and one of her prerogatives is dealing with student discipline on her campus. As a school board member myself, it's been brought up to our board meetings before, what do we do with school discipline? And I agree that unfortunately the pressure teachers are under, it's like they have to feed, they have to educate, they have to clean, they have to keep safe, babysit, versus, you know, the role of a teacher has expanded beyond just being a simple educator, and so that's unfortunate. And so they deal with discipline issues all the time, and I understand the plight that sometimes it feels like your hands are tied with what you can do with these students because of their home environments or whatnot. And so I understand that. And so what we can do at the State Board of Education is we don't completely oversee TA, but we can work with TA on helping find solutions for that. And you're firsthand as a teacher, you're the one that really knows firsthand how to deal with that. When it comes to winning elections, I want to win Cameron County, but I also want to win this county. I want to win Nueces County, and that's where you come in. And so tonight I'm humbly asking for your vote. because I want to be your state board of education member. My opponent talks about Democratic support, but in the last 2 races that he's won and lost, he lost handedly to Democrats. So I don't know where he's going to get the Democratic support, but here as a conservative tonight, I want Republican support, and I want your support. And so when you early voting on March 6th on primary election day, I'm asking for your vote. Vote Eric Garza for the Texas State Board of Education, because I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to represent you, all 17 counties of this district, and I'm passionate, and I'm ready to serve, and I got the experience, and I'm your best choice to take on our incumbent in November. So I humbly ask for your vote. Give me the humble opportunity to be a representative on the State Board of Education. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you, both of you. Our next candidate is somebody that really does not need any introduction. It is our state representative, Todd Hunter. I think there is not one person in this room that does not know Todd. So even though he gets his 2 minutes, I will take the time before first to thank Todd, because without Todd, this meeting could not have taken place. He secured for us this room and the refreshment that you found in the back. But also, he has worked, as you know, tirelessly all those decades, years, to put Corpus Christi on the map, and you know it works. So tried in his footsteps to put the island now on the map. So thank you to all of the candidates and to all of you for being here tonight.
Well, thank you, Suzanne and Alan, and I want to point out one thing. It's Rick Milby's birthday. I want to tell him happy birthday right here. Come on, Pastor, stand up. Thank you, my friend. Now I'm going to really tell you the story. You've heard all these stories. I want you to give you, my speech is how humbled I am. Now let me explain why. I lost 64 pounds going on a diet. And my hair turned white and I shriveled up. And 3 nights ago, I went into the Stripes store and this kid asked me if I was Bernie Sanders. So, the only thing I want everybody to remember tonight is Bernie's here. Remember Bernie, and he's voting Republican. I'm not going to speak long because you've got a lot. I want to tell you all I'm proud of you. Thank you all so much. We are going to be Republican this year, and we are going to win. And the main thing we want to do is let's get the word out. But the only thing I want to ask you to do is please vote. Don't take it for granted. We've got to vote. And that may make Pusley grow a little bit more hair in the back of the room, will it? Anyway, thank you all so much. I want you to hear from the contestant. And Bernie says goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, Todd. Next one is Greg Peirce, Chief Justice, 13th Court of Appeals, District, Place 2.
Thank you all for coming tonight. I am uncontested in the primary, but I do have a pretty significant opponent in the actual general election. My name is Greg Peirce. I'm running for Justice of the Court of Appeals, Place 2. You might remember I served as your former Justice of the Court of Appeals for 6 years. I did lose in the presidential election. But having said that, this election is very, very important because we have a chance this time to put 4 Republicans on the Court of Appeals out of the 6. There are 4 very strong people: Ernie Aliceta, Jaime Tiarina, Clarissa Silva, and then myself. This is the year in the election cycle, the gubernatorial election cycle, we can get this done. Basically, my background, a little bit about me. I was a 31-year appellate attorney. This is what I've done ever since I started practicing. I worked on the Court of Appeals for 2 years as a staff attorney. I've also worked, obviously, 6 years as a Court of Appeals justice. Basically, the big thing between the difference between myself and my opponent is I am a constitutional conservative. What that means is that I look at the law and I apply it as written. I don't believe in justice from the bench. I think that the most important thing is predictability. You have no predictability when somebody rules from the buzzword, the heart. When your people say, I'm ruling from my heart, that means they're leaving the word as it's written on the page. We don't need that kind of justice. My name's Greg Perks. You'll see my signs, Perks Works. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. Now we have the next contested race. Both candidates are here. 148th District, Mark Stolley and Bill Kelly.
Good evening. How y'all doing? Thanks for staying out this late. It's getting past my bedtime, I think. Anyway, it's been a long day. I started out, my name is Mark Stolley, and I'm running for the 148th District Court. I'm a trial attorney. I've been an attorney for 23 years. I was born and raised here, Spawn Shoreline, and I graduated from Flower Bluff. I graduated from Corpus Christi State University. I went to the University of Houston, came back. I was a prosecutor for the county attorney's office, prosecutor for the district attorney's office. I've been a special prosecutor. I've seen cases from a number of different vantage points. I'm a guardian ad litem, attorney ad litem. My last high-profile case was a 2-count attempted capital murder of 2 police officers. And despite representing my client to the best of my abilities and doing what I needed to do under the law for effective representation, over the holidays, the CLEAT, the Combined Law Enforcement Associations of Texas, asked me to step in when their attorney was going on vacation to represent the officers for Nueces County Sheriff's and Corpus Christi Police Department if there were any officer-involved shootings. So I have also served as a court master for mental health commitments. I've been a judge for probable cause hearings. A judge does one thing when they follow the law. They apply the law, they apply the plain meaning of the statute, and I'll be a strict interpretation of the law. I'm not going to decide what the outcome ought to be and then twist the law to that end. I believe that we ought to be constitutional conservatives, and we ought to look at what the plain meaning of the statute is. I'd ask for your consideration. I'd ask for you to take a look at my credentials. I'd ask you to take a look at the fact that you learn the law by being in a trial court, and the 148th is a trial court. Judges have to instruct juries, and judges have to apply the evidence to allow what evidence comes in and what doesn't. And you got to have to know the criminal procedure and the rules of evidence, and you can only get that in trial court.
Good evening. My name is Bill Kelly, and I'm running for the 148th District Court. But I want to start out by introducing my wife, who's over in the back there, because she's been with me. Oh, there she is. She moved over here. She's been with me from the beginning. It was a family decision to run. To give you an example, she was with me at midnight the other night putting out campaign signs. So thank you, sweetheart. Now I want to introduce myself. I've been an attorney picking juries and trying cases since the 1980s. I've tried complex cases, civil cases, defending people who've been sued by plaintiffs' lawyers, and family law cases. As an attorney, I know that it's my job to zealously advocate for my client. But a judge's job is very different. A judge doesn't advocate for anybody. A judge is supposed to impartially look at the facts and apply those facts to the law as written by the legislature. That's why about 10 years ago I introduced mediation and arbitration to my practice. Because as a mediator, I get the judge's perspective. I hear from both sides, I listen to the arguments of their attorneys, and I help them reach a resolution of their case. And I've been successful over 96% of the time. As an arbitrator, I have not only the judge's perspective, but I also have the judge's power. And I get to listen to both sides, pursuant to the rules of evidence, and I get to make a ruling. I have already done the work of a judge, and I've been doing it for almost a decade. I know, because I've done both jobs, that the skills necessary to be a good judge are different than the skills necessary to be a good advocate. And I have developed those skills to be a good judge, and I'm asking for your support for my bid to be the next judge of the 148th District Court. Thank you.
One question.
I have a question. There's too much crime in Nueces County. What will you two do to reduce it?
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate you asking that question because, as you know, but maybe not some of the other people don't know, I spent 8 years on the Corpus Christi City Council, and I worked very closely with the police department. I was in the neighborhoods working on the crime problem, addressing it at the root level. Also, my wife and I are a victim of violent crime. I got to watch my wife, someone stick a gun in her face and rob us at gunpoint on the street. I know what to do with criminals when they come before me. I know what it feels like to be a victim of crime, and I will have empathy with other people who have experienced that. You don't have to worry about what I will do if I'm the judge of the 148th District Court with criminals. Thank you.
To answer Mr. Hogan's question, there's a thing called trial court discretion, and that comes in many forms. And on criminal cases, it comes when judges are asked to sentence individuals when they choose or elect to go to the judge for punishment, or when they're on probation and they violate their probation. That's when you, as a judge, the person sitting there, gets to decide using trial court discretion what it is that they should do as a punishment. And you look at the facts and circumstances of the case, and you look at the demographic features of who they are, and if they've messed up, if they've done an aggravated act, if they've done a crime against a person, if they have a rap sheet that's long, if they have repeat or habitual felony offender enhancements on their indictment, then they should go to prison for a long time. And that's how a trial court judge, using their discretion in a conservative manner, will be able to address the crime problem here in Nueces County. And that's the type of philosophy or jurisprudence that I would apply if sitting on the bench. I ask you for your consideration. Thank you.
Okay, hello again. I'm Bill Kelly, and I am running for the 148th District Court. As a proud Republican, I think it's very important that we retain this bench. I am proud to be the only candidate in this race who has ever voted in a Republican primary. I've been doing it for over a decade. I've been supporting Republican candidates with my time, and I've been supporting Republican candidates with my money. I've contributed thousands of dollars to other people's campaigns. I know our Republican values. I will be the kind of judge that you want me to be. I will not be legislating from the bench. I recognize that I'm running for judge and not the legislature. And I'm asking for your support for my bid to be the next judge of the 148th District Court. Thank you very much.
My opponent's statements about being a longtime Republican beg a response. I encourage you guys, each of you, ladies and gentlemen, to go to the Nueces County Democrat primary candidates in 2004 for the Commissioner's Place Precinct 1 out there in Calallen and see who was a Democrat candidate, Mr. Kelly. So when he talks about lifelong Republican, lifelong values, you know, I'm going to stick to what the truth is, but if he's going to go out there and mischaracterize something like that, then it begs me to respond. Now, there was a problem going on in Nueces County with the last administration in the district attorney's office. They were hiding evidence. They were keeping evidence, exculpatory evidence. And as an attorney representing a defendant, that's the most important evidence that should be turned over by the Constitution. It's in the Constitution. So I got out on the news. You can Google my name. You can see the articles there in Chris 6 News. Stuck my neck out, attacked and criticized the then sitting district attorney. And then I further went ahead and decided we need a change, and the only way that I could affect that change was to go and vote in the Democratic primary to vote against Mr. Skirka, because it was directly affecting my clients. Unfortunately, when I voted in the general election, my friend, Mr. Gardner, didn't make it. But he's got a sign out in front of mine out in front of his front yard right now. So I ask you to vote for Mark Stolley, 148th District Court. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go to the next race, I think Sierra Medina had a quick 30-second announcement. Are you here? Sierra Medina? No, I guess she walked out. So, the next race is one of the most critical races in Nueces County. If we want to keep Nueces County red, as you know, the Democrats are working very, very hard at turning it purple first and then blue. And that's true for Texas, but that's also true for Nueces County. And county judge is critical to keep it red. So Mike Pasley, I know you don't have a challenger in the primaries, but we want to see you.
Thank you. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Alan. Thank you so much for putting this together tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Mike Pusley, your Republican candidate for county judge in Nueces County. Thank you very much. I have, for the last 9 years, served as your county commissioner here in Nueces County for Precinct 1. Precinct 1, if you're not familiar with how the map's laid out, is basically the northern 1/4 of Nueces County. So my precinct starts on North Beach, covers downtown, goes out northwest to Toloso and Cal Island, and almost to Orange Grove. So it's a big, long, skinny district with about 85,000 people in it. So I have served since 2009. I was sworn in. And what we did when I was elected in 2009, for the first time in the history of Nueces County, we had a Republican majority on the Nueces County Commissioners Court. And what we have done with that majority is bring good government back to every one of you. Good, responsible, honest government that you can believe in. And as your county judge, I will do no less than continue to do that here in Nueces County. We're going to work very hard to keep your taxes low. Right now, your tax rate in Nueces County is lower than it was in 1998. And that didn't happen by accident. When I came to the Commissioner's Court, we had a very high tax rate that the Democrats had presented to us, and we went to work on that. And we have cut $50 million of wasteful spending out of county government. We have given pay raises to county employees. We have done the right things for taxpayers, and as your county judge, I will continue to do that. I want to tell you just a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Corpus Christi. My beautiful wife, Norma, and I went to high school together. She was my high school sweetheart. And this year, July 6th, Norma and I will celebrate our 45th wedding anniversary. So thank you so much. And Bill's right, this is a team effort. Norma and I have been block walking in Nueces County for longer than either one of us cares to admit. It's hard work, but it's worth it. I spent almost 4 years in the oil and gas exploration business. I retired in 2013, and I'm now a full-time county commissioner, and I will be a full-time county judge. I also have, Norma and I have 2 daughters. I'm glad to see we have some school teachers here tonight. Both of my daughters are school teachers, and we now have 5 beautiful grandchildren. All of them live here in Corpus Christi, and we're very happy about that. But I will continue as your county judge to work as hard as I can to represent each and every one of you here in Nueces County. And here's the real critical thing that Todd brought up a while ago. Padre Island will decide who is the next Nueces County judge. Your vote out here is going to be absolutely critical. So thank you very much. I need your help. I need your support. Get your friends out and go vote for us in November. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank Thank you. And Mike did not tell you, but he has a fundraiser on the island on March 8th. I hope many of you will come and support him. He needs a lot of help. So
March 8th. Thank you, Suzanne.
you're welcome. Sierra, you wanted 30 seconds?
For those of you who want to stick around after, we actually have our campaign RV, the Texas Cruiser, right outside the entrance. So I guess as you're exiting, and we have campaign gear, we have t-shirts, cups, signs, stickers, little foam fingers. So if you want to go kind of check it out, it's a lot of fun. And go grab a picture, grab a t-shirt, and yeah, just wanted to let y'all know. Great.
Thank you. Next one, District Clerk, Anne Lorenzen.
I think most of you probably know me by the jury lady, but for the last 3 years I have been your district clerk. I'm very proud to have achieved that, and I want to thank each and every one of you for making that possible in 2014, because you came out and voted for all the Republicans on the slate. I am the only district clerk in the state of Texas that takes care of all the courts. I take care of 8 district courts. I take care of 5 county courts. The other counties, the county clerk takes care of the county courts and also probate. I have it all. So I have a very, very busy department. And for the last 3 years, I have been working diligently to get that department to where it is current with technology. The e-filings have been, we're still working, we still have a few problems with our e-filings, but we were able to meet our deadline for criminal e-filing on January 1st of this year. All of the pieces to the case management system are in place. That has been completed. One thing I want you to know that I'm very proud of, and I'm glad Commissioner Pusley is here because he was very instrumental in getting this done, is online impaneling for jurors. You have a choice now to come to the central jury room or not go to the central jury room and go straight up to the courtroom. And because of that, the county has saved $350,000 in the first year of online impaneling. So we were able to turn that back over to the general fund for Nueces County. Also, one thing I'm very proud of is how my department, how I and my chief deputy work with the other departments in the county. It's not about me, it's not about her, it's not about Mark Gonzalez or the jail. It's about doing what's right for the justice system. And we have a very good working relationship. We had an issue that could have been catastrophic to the county in losing all of the grants that are important to the county, and because we worked together, we were able to stop that, and so we will have grants from now on. But it was working together, and that's the kind of district clerk that I am. I come to work every day, and I can promise you that if you will re-elect me for 4 more years. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. And that's what we call good governance that the Republican had brought to Nueces County, so we want to keep it. Kara Sands, are you here? I know she's working late, so like early voting has started. No. So I guess she's still working, getting the ballots in. So I know she wanted to talk to you a little bit about the new voting system. You will be impressed, I think, when you go vote this time. We have a brand new system that is really the top of the line. It works, it's easy for the poll workers, it's wonderful for the voters. That's the best way I've ever seen in all those years. So, and that's also what having a good county clerk has brought us. So I have a few more people that are not on the ballot that I wanted to mention. First, Sheriff Kaila, I don't know if you're still here. Maybe he left. Greg, our city councilman. Greg, you want to say a word? I know you're not on the ballot, but we're happy to have you with us. No, that's not him. Okay, sorry. He left. So, and then Selma Rodriguez, she's not here on the island, but she's one of the contested race for Justice of Peace, District 2, Place 2.
It's I'm actually Judge Thelma Rodriguez. I'm the Justice of the Peace of Precinct 2, Place 2. That is the office that's located right here in Flower Bluff. Judge Cox was there prior to me taking office. I have been an employee of Nueces County for 26 years, 26 great years, 22 as a clerk. I was actually Judge Cox's chief clerk, and now I'm in my 4th year of my first term in office. So what I bring to the table, I do have 2 opponents in the primary, but I am the true Republican in this race. They do not bring the experience to the table that I do. I started from the bottom up. I worked my way up. This was not given to me, and I've worked very hard. The one thing that I'm very proud of is just recently Flower Bluff brought to my attention that since I have come into office, their truancy has dropped by 45%. So my court hears mostly, primarily truancy cases. That is the meat of my court. And we literally start in the morning till sometimes 6:30 in the evening with just truancy cases. I have all of Flower Bluff ISD, West Oso ISD files in my court. And there are only 2 judges in Nueces County that all of CCISD chose to file all their cases in just those 2 courts. And I am one of those, although I am one of the newest judges. Because that's the experience and the knowledge that I bring to this job. I hear all of King, Carroll, Ray, and veterans and their feeder schools along with the 2 other school districts. So we are very busy in that court. I'm very proud of the work that we have done. I also hear a lot of eviction procedures. I do have a lot of experience. The first time I ran for office, I promised that I would be able to start day 1 with no learning curve at all, and I did that. I was sworn in January the 1st. January the 2nd, I heard my first case. And in my 2nd week of office, I heard my first jury trial. Not very many people can do that. Not even attorneys can do that. So I am hoping that I can get all of you to vote for me. I bring passion to this job, and I am not finished doing what I have started. I have my heart in the lives of our future, which is our children and their education. So I would really appreciate if you vote for me on March 6th or tomorrow if you want to. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ms. Kara, good. In time for the closing. Not the opening, but the closing. We know you were working hard.
I just left the courthouse.
Yeah.
So thank you.
It's all yours.
Oh, hi, I'm Kara Sands. Sorry,
We know you let you get out.
I know, thank you. I'm your county clerk, and I actually just left the courthouse. Early voting is going on right now. So hopefully all of y'all have voted so far? Yeah, no? You're waiting, okay. I think a lot of Republicans are, right? Because bad turnout. So you can vote here, which is very convenient for y'all. You can vote in early voting locations. I brought y'all sample ballots. I also brought you the early voting schedule and vote centers. Also, who has voted and who likes the new equipment? The new equipment. Who likes the new equipment? Awesome. Okay. Easy to get to check in? Great. Okay.
That's great.
Well, thank you to the commissioners for supporting that, or any of them here. Yeah. And we have that for y'all. So that's what we're doing, trying to modernize, the elections, make it a little quicker for y'all. You can vote anywhere, which is great. And that's it. So get out and vote. And I am on the ballot this time. I don't have a primary opponent, but I will in November. So hopefully I'm asking you to vote for me. I love working for y'all. I'm a public servant. That is my job. I do work for y'all. And my door is always open. So any suggestions, good and bad. I want to hear both, because if I don't know the bad, then we can't fix it and make it good, right? So again, my door's always open. Most of you have my cell phone. If not, just call my office. And I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more thing, veterans. We have a Think My Heart project, we have a Think a Vet program. So we've had about 3,000 veterans come through, almost 3,500. And we have partnered, Schlitterbahn has joined us. If you're a veteran, you come to my office, we issue you a Think a Veteran card, and it's just a way to say thank you. I mean, it's that simple. So we partnered with over 100 businesses. We're always looking for more businesses. It's free. And just come by my office and pick up your Think a Veteran card.
Thank you. Thank you, Kara. And so, yes, now it's your turn. Please go vote as many times as you can. At least once.
No, once.
She didn't hear you.
One time.
You're doing your job. I'm doing mine. So please go vote. It's really important. The Democrats have gone to vote out in force in those 2 first days of early voting. Their numbers compared to 2 years ago have been multiplied by something like 300. The Republicans' numbers have increased by, depending on the cities, between 30 and 80%. I suppose we're seeing about the same thing in Nueces County. So please go vote. Tell all your friends, your family. It is very important to go vote. It's important, of course, in the general election, but primaries, not only because it's your choice, but also it shows the mood of the country, are very important to participate in. So please go vote. Jeannie, you had 2 minutes also for our announcements, and then we'll have a little bit of social time.
Thank you. Thank you, Suzanne. By the way, Suzanne is on the Nueces County Republican Women's Board, so she's one of our fellow ladies. I'm Jeannie Whittington, the president of Nueces County Republican Women. Thank you. And I want to tell you that all of us work very hard to make all of you look great and to get votes for all of you. So I want to share that with all of you that are here tonight. I want to make a speech to let you know that we are also having an event on March the 8th. Please mark your calendar. This is a very special event to honor Todd Hunter, the man in black, okay? We are having we are co-hosting this event down at the Holiday Inn with the San Patricio Republican Women and the Nueces Republican Women. We're going to have a live auction, and by the way, we've had a gun from Nichols donated already, along with a year's range, and also a class to be able to learn to carry that gun. So that's one of the items that we'll be auctioning off, along with a couple of trips and a wonderful Texas basket, because we're going to be celebrating Texas Independence Day at the same event. So we're honoring Todd Hunter. You can contact myself or any one of our ladies with Nueces County. You can go online and sign up for it. And the tickets start at $75. You can sponsor a table of 10, or you can sponsor a table in the very front or a corporate table. So we still have some tables available, and like I said, a very important person, a very important time, and that is to honor Todd Hunter, who has been undoubtedly the most supportive person of the Republican Party and the Republican women in Nueces County and out in this area too. So please, I don't want to take anything away from Mike Pusley, and he knows this. We are going to pass the boot at our event, and we're passing the boot to take in checks and or credit card numbers or cash from Mike Pusley at the same event for Todd that night. So you can go and see Mike here on the island and know that we'll still accept your donations through Nueces County to give to Mike too. So thank you, Mike. We're looking forward to helping you. So if there's any questions about that, you should have gotten your invitation in the mail today that were sent out. But please try to come. You can go to our website, Nueces County Republican Women website, or to our Nueces County Facebook website. And thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you. Again, thank you to all who made this evening possible, whether it is by securing the room, the video, the photo the candidates, of course, who came all the way, and you who came to listen to them and ask them questions. We'll do that again. It's our first, but it's not the last. So thank you again. And now we have the room for 30 more minutes. We're right on time, and you can speak with the candidates and ask some more questions. Thank you.